Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that will hopefully won't be snapping pencils while I talk about reanimating keeping their able to stay alive in their brains for 6 to 12 minutes. It's John Levingood.
Oh, not many people use pencils anymore in classes, and there's a good reason. It's to avoid snarky pencil breaks. To distract teachers rudely.
You said for 12 minutes. 6 to 12 minutes. It's, oh man. West is the worst student. I mean, geez Louise, imagine having Herbert West in your class, John. So, you start teaching, you're in a college, you could teach right now, you could go get a job at a university, and Herbert West shows up, snapping pencils. What would you do?
Well, that's rough. Like, of course, this is 1985, man. Like, this is an era where students had no power, and the word of faculty was taken like the word of a deity to a follower. So really, if Dr. Hill wants to make his life hell, he can.
Yeah.
And we saw in this movie, and of course I laughed when it happened, because obviously Dean Halsey isn't in charge of the financial office of the college. But, when he's talking to Dan Kane, our co-star, our assistant, if you will, to Herbert West, and he's saying, and of course your loan will be revoked. Right. But this is the kind of stuff that when you think back to your like National Lampoon's Animal House era, your Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where a teacher shows up to your house and keeps you from going to prom on time. Remember the history teacher was Spicoli?
Yeah.
Like,
Mr.
these are
Hand.
things that were just commonplace when you think about them back then. And if a teacher shows up at your house, or if a college professor says something, your parents or you're just going along with it because you can't fight. Whereas now, you'd be like, get out of my house. You're harassing me.
Yeah.
I'm going to complain.
They're not going to breakfast
totally
club
the
you.
opposite.
2 weeks. 3 weeks. Stop.
Right.
4 weeks.
Right.
You get the ball.
So it's funny that, see, like Dr. Hill, though, he seems to not really be scared by Herbert West. He's just like incensed by him. Can't wait to see you in class, Dr. West. I think we know that he thinks he's going to fail him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how West performs on an exam. He's just going to fail him.
Because they had the power right then. Dr. Carl Hill.
I think so, right? And that has nothing to do with how just disgusting the Dr. Hill character is, with his very lascivious interest in Megan,
Woo-wee.
played by Barbara Crampton,
Yep.
who's Dean Halsey's daughter. Like,
You want to hear a funny story that I heard from the commentary and behind the scenes notes?
Yeah.
So David Gale was in the theater, and he plays Dr.
That's
Carl
Dr. Hill. Right?
And there's a scene where we're jumping to the end. You've seen Re-Animator. Stuart Gordon directed it, 1985, based on a short story, Herbert West, Re-Animator. Now, David Gale is in the theater, and there's a scene where his body is holding his decapitated head, and his body is licking a naked Megan Halsey, Barbara Crampton. I mean, they really linger on the camera. And then there's a scene.
Her breast.
I don't even know if I want to talk about this one scene, but his wife got up and yelled at him during the screening, like, "How dare you? How could you?" And then he got divorced.
Did he really?
Yeah. But think about it, man. You go to a movie premiere, John. You are David Gale, or you are John Levingood playing Dr. Carl Hill in a remake in 1985, and you haven't told your wife about this scene. Packed theater, friends and family, and then there's that. Like,
he is straight up sucking her nipple on that.
Yeah, it's not. And I mean, listen, Stuart Gordon, they did that on purpose. Like, they really wanted to push the limits. I mean, this movie got an X rating. Like, they didn't even try for an R rating on this movie. Mac Ahlberg, wonderful cinematographer. They just said, okay, we are going to leave the camera lingering. But this guy got divorced because of this movie, because his wife was like, "You suck." Like, that's not acting. That is not acting. That isn't like a Hallmark Christmas movie kiss. Like, that is. I don't want to go too far into detail, but that's some like extreme. You didn't have to go that far, and then she divorced him.
Yeah, so I totally understand his now ex-wife's reaction. At the same time, I do find some kind of personal. There's something pleasant to me about these deliciously revolting, is almost the word I'd use, movies where it seems like nothing is off limits, and they seem to treat that just as equally with men and women in a way, because we have
she's far more sexualized. The men are just kind of zombies running around.
Yes, the
like
sexualization
that's not,
is aimed at women, but we see more penises in this movie than we do pairs of breasts.
You know, the DP fell apart a little bit during this because they knew if they filmed too many of those, it would be labeled as a porn movie, and they couldn't even get like a no rating. And so Mac, I guess, was on stage and he was really sort of bummed out. And I guess during this time, someone walked up to him and like, Mac, like, are you doing okay? Like, how you doing? And he's a German cinematographer. And I guess he started saying, what did he start saying? He was like, he was really depressed and he was just, oh gosh. Oh, he said that there's too many weenies wiggling and he's really stressful about how to keep them out of frame.
And they're very unflattering to the act because, you know, you're just
I just
a naked guy in a cold room.
I just love though that this all right. So this guy worked on Innocent Blood, Robot Jox, Arena, Deep Star 6, House, Ghoulies, Deadly, big movies. So this guy Mac, he knew how to shoot. He was an excellent cameraman. But I just love that he was just sitting there needing like a cigarette and a cheap blended scotch. Just like, how do I get all? Like, I can't do a German accent. I just sounded like I was from like a Chicago movie from 1930s. Like, hey, how do I get it? Like he's he didn't know how to get all those out of frame. It's just funny. Like that was a story about Re-Animator. And I just want to say, John, before I forget, this was Stuart Gordon's first movie. He worked in Chicago.
Is it producer?
Yeah, no, director. He worked in.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Brian Usna was the producer. My bad.
He was a playwright. He worked in Chicago. He was a playwright, and he got convinced he wanted to turn Re-Animator into a series, stage play. Then he wanted to turn Re-Animator into a pilot. And eventually somebody walked up to him, and I read this interview with him, and he was talking about horror. And he's like, horror, you can make horror for cheap. You can get it done fast. You get a lot of experience. If it's not that bad, people don't care. They shot it in 18 days. And he goes, a friend of his suggested he make a horror film, explaining that it was the easiest thing to raise money for and the easiest way for investors to get their money back, no matter how terribly it turned out. This movie, though, you watch Sam Raimi. He had directed movies before Evil Dead. You have watched a lot of these directors coming up. I think this is like Saw. Like you watch these first horror films from some of these directors, and this is a very first horror film because the guy, like you said, there's like a naivety to it. There is a full of life. They went over the top. They weren't worried about like an NC-17 rating. It seems like just like a guy who was just brimming with ideas, coming out to LA, shooting a first time picture. He didn't quite know what was going on. Like, what's this light? Why am I doing this? What's this set? Like he understood stagecraft and set builds on stage. But yeah, this is a movie where I just think it comes from a first time director. You don't see many movies like this from fifth time directors. This, you know what I mean? Like this is this has so much personality and charm that I think it just comes from just a guy who wasn't tired, went out to Hollywood with something to prove, and shot this picture.
I mean, you know that a studio had 0% involvement. I mean, the nothing off limits. It goes to the effects too. It goes to. I mean, the most horrifying thing in this movie for me was when Dr. Hill's intestines explode out of his body, and they don't just wrap around Herbert West. They don't just constrict him or pull him away or keep him in this room where this acid gas is creating, probably a little death chamber. Before any of that happens, it's actually smothering him. It is suffocating him.
It's Sarlacc pits him. You know how it wraps around that guy's leg?
But he's trying to pull it away from his face, and you see the panic. Like it's trying to kill him just that way. Like, and to me, that's a weird idea to have. That's a horrifying idea to have. Like, to me, that if you had any studio involvement, they'd be like, whoa, it just wraps around him and pulls him, towards the body.
Wait,
right?
What?
Because that was just, in a way, it's psychologically brutal to me, just the thought of it. Like, this movie is pretty serious. There's so much going on in this movie, and it's a really I think it's a really appropriate way to kick off kind of our little Lovecraft series here, which was kind of springboarded off of the Apocalypse trilogy that we
Yeah,
completed.
Dagon and Color Out of Space, because we wanted to talk about Nicolas Cage, and then
Hmm.
you've been talking about Dagon and Re-Animator for a long time for the show. I mean, you've brought it up
Sure.
many times since 2015. So I got, let's just package a deal together because we've done Final Destination, we've done, oh geez Louise, Resident Evil,
Yeah.
we've done racing. We did a racing. We just like series, John. Like
Like
we
the
just
race
like doing,
series.
yeah, the race
Well,
series. Now we're on
this
this.
was the natural progression though, because when we did the thing for our Kurt Russell 250 episode, right? Then we did 358, we did Prince of Darkness, and then we rounded it out with In the Mouth of Madness for 369. We did that Apocalypse trilogy for John Carpenter, and all those movies in very different ways address very different overt Lovecraftian themes. Maybe the least or the most subtly in Prince of Darkness, but still an overt theme. It's just
Mhm.
not as in your face, if you will. So very different ways. And so now, we just continue it with things that are very more directly Lovecraftian, right? Obviously, Herbert West Re-Animator. And this is way more bonkers than any of that Apocalypse trilogy stuff. Like this movie's full tilt. We're watching this, Mark, a week and a half ago, and I loved your reaction to it of how they are not acknowledging the comedy that is very obvious on the screen ever, but it manages to work.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's playing it so straight. I mean, I think Jeffrey Combs rightfully gets a lot of love for his portrayal of Herbert West.
It's
Everyone knows
amazing.
about Barbara Crampton, Megan Halsey. She's so good. I like that spin move she does in the hallway. That's like there's a lot of little character moments in this, but I think Dean Halsey, Robert Sampson, he plays the Dean, and then he goes to Crazy Papa, Crazy Zombie, and then you have David Gale, who goes from being this kind of lecherous jerk doctor to being a decapitated head being carried around a body who can't use the word T in his sentences. Like it's very interesting the way he talks. But then they're all playing it so straight. But you have a cat that looks, uh, purpose. They purposely did this. I mean, I was looking at the people who did the visual effects in this movie.
That's the cat they would have used in the stage play version.
Exactly. And like I was looking at the people who worked on this, and you have let's see, you have John Navlin. He did like Critters, Splash, Deadly Blessing. Then when you have what John Carl Buechler, he worked on Tammy and the T Rex, Nightmare on Elm Street. He worked on Carnosaur, Friday the 13th, Ghoulies, Halloween 4. You have a kind of who's who of special effects artists in this movie, and you can tell, I mean, from the opening eye squish to the scene where Halsey is taking, Carl Hill is taking the brain off of the character. They found a bald man, put a bald cap on him, took the top off, and then they brought in a dummy. They had cattle brain because a guy got a lot of stuff from like a local butcher. Then they had cattle brain in there to mess around with. So you have a tiny budget. This was like 9 million to they say either like 2 million based that they're not quite sure how much it cost. But you have like when he throws that cat, no, yeah, he throws a cat at the wall and it leaves a blood stain on the wall. And then there's another head thrown at a wall later and it's just hamburger and explodes into the wall. It just seems like the special effects crew were having the best time of their lives on this movie. And I know I went totally off, whatever. We're talking about our trilogy that we're going into. But I just want to, John, this movie was made in '85, and it's still considered to be, and it's a cult classic, and many people adore it. Notwithstanding, I don't even want to talk about it, but like Lovecraft, all that baggage that comes with him, lots of baggage. But notwithstanding, like, I think this movie, it's such a weird, it has so much character. It has this charming sense of humor. You don't know many of the actors, like, and then I don't know. And there's blood and guts and uh, nudity, and it's like a horror hound would love it because it offers the goo and the guts and the blood. And then someone who's like, I don't know, like an intellectual horror fan because it's smart and it's in on the joke and it's very shrewd. It gets itself, it plays it serious. So it's like it hits a variety of audiences. Does that make sense? I think it hits a wide group.
Something that I never really registered in my head until preparing for this was just how memorable, likable, and thoughtfully written our non-star stars are, right? I mean, because when I say stars, I mean like one or two people, right? So Jeffrey Combs and the actor who plays Dan Kane, Bruce Abbott. So okay, there are stars, right? Barbara Crampton, she's arguably fourth or fifth cast in my head. She and Dean Halsey are about equally cast. Dr. Hill, David Gale is above them. So, but David Gale that's his name, right?
Yeah, David
Gale. As Dr. Hill. When he's, as you described, they get the bald guy, they put the ball cap on him for when we first have him meeting Herbert. He's peeling away that skin, and he even says to the class, like, kind of like peeling a large orange. And, he has a little giggle. And that line, like, that felt so much to me like when I'm in 8th grade and my physical science teacher is throwing a little joke in because they really do like what they're doing. And a lot of his sinister scenes, they have a lot of personality to them. He's not just there to deliver lines and let you know his motive. He does a great job. And Dean Halsey, like, you remember him and the way he threatens Dan Kane with
taking away his financial aid,
expelling him. You stay away from my daughter, all this jazz. Like, every character feels important, these main characters. And even Megan, that's the one character whose name didn't actually stick very hard with me, by the way, even though I know the character very well. She's imperative in driving the cat scene in the beginning, and she's imperative in laying down our suspicion of Herbert West.
She's not a bubble-headed co-ed.
Right, you're right. She's a legitimate, significant other of a main character,
which is rare in '85 in horror.
But of course they did objectify the crap out of her.
Oh, amazingly, yeah.
But I mean, a severed head tries to go down on her, so
yeah,
it's interesting.
But you know what? You're right though. This is a movie that goes there.
Even the morgue security guard, he has personality. They did a good job laying down his foundation. We understand why he trusts and why he would let so easily Dan slip in there. Why he's so lax, he's so friendly with these people. Like, we get to see that. You watch other movies, there's like one line where it's like, oh, well, you do this all the time. And you're like, yeah, whatever, script. And it doesn't feel lived in. That guy feels lived in. And then when he's in a position to put a gun on them because of what's going on, he's not just confused with what's going on, but these are people that he wouldn't immediately turn on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, the characters, any character that's given a name in this, I feel like it's just like those 6, to be honest, feels important. And good characters in 1985? Come on now. Like, that didn't happen. I mean, you had Heather Langenkamp, right? Mm-hmm. And her dad, maybe. He was not as well written, actually. John Saxon's role, he was not as well written in any Nightmare film as any of the characters in this movie. And that's not a fault of Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a credit to this.
And you make a great point because, you think about the bench. So it doesn't have the biggest bench, but for those 6 actors, I mean, that's a deep bench that it has. I mean, when can you think of the last time where a David Gale or Robert Sampson, those two kind of, the dad or the evil doctor, are so likable? And they, I mean, just the way they're able to turn and the way they're able to perform, I think they are part of the reason that the movie is so successful. And I guess if you're looking at '85, I guess '85 was somewhat of a decent year for supporting characters because you had Return of the Living Dead, that had a good the Punks. You remember, like, the Punks got some personality. Fright Night, that is a pretty deep bench of characters. Day of the Dead had Bud. But then if you think about the other ones, I wouldn't say they're too deep. Like Friday the 13th, part 5? No. That's Crispin Glover, but you don't remember any of those kids' names.
Well, that was his first role, and yeah, you wouldn't remember his name.
Corkscrew! But yeah, on House was 85? 85 was a good year for horror. But I don't remember the supporting characters in House, because it's basically like one-hander. But no, I know what you're saying. I think that's reason, I don't know, the success from this, and that's why I enjoyed that viewing that we had, John. It's just, you never see a character like David Gale. I mean, he's just, I don't know, they found the right, and this is another thing, the guy, Stuart Gordon was also looking for stage actors when he did this, because he was a stage director. I mean, everyone thought when he made his first movie it was going to be, like The Addiction, or have you seen The Addiction?
No.
Christopher Walken as a vampire, or like a nausea vampire movie.
No,
like everyone thought he was going to make an art house movie, and then he comes out with Re-Animator, and people were shocked. Like Stuart Gordon made Re-Animator.
The Stooge himself.
The Stooge. And also, if we look at the villains, right? All right, so clearly Dr. Carl Hill is an antagonist. He's a solid antagonist, but we also have Herbert Squirrely West in here, man. Herbert, in the beginning, he's reactive, bringing someone back, giving him more life after being dead.
You mean Dr. Hans Gruber?
Dr. Hans Gruber. And he's just so squirrely. And then he shows up. He's like, you don't go in the basement? Okay, cool. He's killing cats, bringing them back to life. He thinks it's a good idea to bring Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double. And that guy is Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double, who had a cameo.
Really? That was a big dude.
He had a cameo in Twins. If you watch Twins, you'll see this giant guy walking by. And you're like, oh, that's his twin. But it turns out to be DeVito. He's been in like Total Recall, T2, all those movies. So they reanimated the hugest dude, and they had a massive wrestling scene with him. Oh, but like Herbert West just keeps failing spectacularly, but he just keeps going. It's something admirable, and how he draws people into his web.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not that he's charismatic; it's that the allure of what he's seeking, even if you think he's insane or that it shouldn't be done, it's like, wait a minute, can that be done? I mean, and of course we're talking to someone in medicine. So it's like, it's almost like you have to invest. It's like flatliners.
Yeah.
I think you're nuts, Mark, for wanting to flatline and asking me to help you. Wait, you're doing this anyway? Well, shit, I'm doing this too. Like I'm going to see what you see. Like, it becomes this thing where you must be there because you don't get into medicine or whatever academic field to not be at the forefront of something if you have the opportunity to. It's drug-like, it's compelling, you addict to it. I see where the recklessness comes from.
And also, John, we're not like, I'm not a doctor, but if we were roommates, and then one night you hear this crashing, I'm like, John, come here, come on. I drag you into the attic, basement. I bring this cat back to life. Everything goes crazy. And they're like, we gotta go here. Like, you might be drawn into this because of the sheer insanity of it all. Like, are we bringing things back to life?
I think part of it too is that in this movie, you are very rapidly, even though it just starts with a cat, someone could say, oh, it was just a cat at first. It's like, yeah, but you made a zombie cat. So to a human's moral sensibilities, you were past the point of no return when you even agreed to the idea of, okay, prove it to me. Make this cat alive again. Mm-hmm. Like, once you did that, you're in. So then when you're like, let's do a human trial, you were already in. Like
15 cc's. Wait, how much did you give him? 35.
He went from 15. That was nuts, wasn't it? So when he did 15 on Schwarzenegger's body double and it didn't work, he says, well, I'm upping the dose. 20 cc's more. So he went from 15 to a total of 35.
Oh, man.
That's nuts.
So Herbert West is clearly a genius for creating the juice, the reanimation glow stick.
Well, for all we know, he didn't.
He killed somebody and took it? He killed that doctor and took it?
He was studying from Dr. Gruber to learn these things. It's not really made totally clear whether Herbert simply honed or developed on his own. I don't think he developed this purely on his own. I think he was working with, I love saying Hans Gruber, Dr. Hans Gruber on this. And maybe he tweaked something. I don't know. I have a feeling that his work is more in the experimentation with it. I mean, and this is Lovecraftian, don't forget. So, like, just based on the writer, who's to say that whatever chemical they found wasn't from some Prince of Darkness like cylinder found on some archaeological dig by Dr. Hans Gruber's brother at the University of Hamburg or something when
Patrick.
he was in. You're right.
No, wait, who's Hans' brother? Max. No, who's the villain from Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Oh God, Jeremy Irons'
Simon?
character.
No, that's like.
Well, he says Simon Says. I don't know his name.
Sorry.
But no, it's like we don't really know where this even came from. Like, can he synthesize this? Can he make more of it? Or is there a finite amount?
He seems to make more because he took it all except for the stuff I have up in my bedroom. And he hates that line, by the way, reading that. So that's a great question, John. But for some reason, I feel like he knows how to manufacture it now. I don't know why. I don't know when. But I think he knows how to make it.
Well, in the movie, I'll agree. But if I think of the story, which I have not read, by the way, or if I did, I read it in like early high school and I forgot reading it.
It was part of they released it into a comedy comic book, and then they released it into another it was written in 21 or 22. So it was released in 5 installments.
But I wonder what the actual origin, if it is identified in the story.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew could be. That stuff's very potent.
Jolt, Surge, all
few
three
things on the
combined
planet can alter urine color as much as Mountain Dew.
All three combined, John. Jolt,
Surge, Jolt, Mountain Dew, a little bit of Code Red.
Whoa, you're living on the edge right there. Oh man.
You know, I'd like to wind it back a little bit though. Like this movie, when this movie starts, like really starts, opening credits. The music, Richard Band, the visuals of these almost like, I don't know what to call it, dilettante era illustrations in these blue and green colors, this impishly energized kind of music. It made me think of things like Beetlejuice.
And you know he basically took the score from Psycho and added oboes and other electronic stuff to it. And he did it on purpose. And I went back and listened to the Psycho score, and I was like, that's Sly Fox. Because he definitely borrowed from that. But to steal the words of the dude from Dead Meat, he calls it a good bop. And it's a good bop, isn't it? I remember the credits came on, and we were just sort of sitting there enjoying it.
I find it enchanting in a dark way.
Yeah.
This music could have been playing when the Hocus Pocus witches, those sisters, raised Doug Jones Zombie.
Oh, yeah, it's just a good bop, and the animation is fun. I think it opens really well with eyes exploding onto a woman. It's a movie that moves quite quickly too. I mean, it's a 90-minute movie, which is beautiful, John. It's a 90-minute movie, and it just moves. It propels itself forward quite quickly.
Well, and it's exposition. Even horror movies that I love have periods where the exposition just feel like, oh, okay, here we're just going to do like 10 minutes of exposition. When you're doing exposition, when Herbert West meets Dr. Hill and he's pulling back the brain, like pulling back the skin, I'm sorry, like peeling a large orange, whatever, that scene is very electric, right? But that's just an exposition scene.
Mm-hmm.
And the scenes with involving Dean Halsey and Dan when he's being threatened, when he's being kicked out of school.
Why does Dan tell him?
Basically, like, this is what we've discovered, and we can do this now. And Dean Halsey's like, yeah, you've clearly lost it. You got involved with this radical student. Remember?
Yeah.
But he was saying we have the power to bring life back to the dead. You know, he was doing the horror trope where you say obviously way too much to someone with no staging to believe it as credible.
Yeah, and it's such a horror trope, too, that happens. But it also, I guess, helps propel the story forward, because then they have to sneak around.
It's like when a kid in Critters or the child character in Ghoulies 2 runs to an adult and says, "You don't understand. There are these little monsters. I call them ghoulies, and they live in the whatever." And they're just like, "Yeah, okay, whatever, kid." Now I'm not even going to go look in whatever box it was. If you said there were a bunch of rats, I would have looked.
Come with me. There's a bunch of rats in the thing. Rats? Oh, no.
Oh, shit, we got to get rid of these rats. And so you don't understand. There are these, what, you know, they say.
It was in the toilet.
Much.
It flicked me off.
No one would do this. Yeah. Nowadays, even a 10-year-old, I think, would know better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. And you're right, because I guess it's not just, hey, Dr. or Dean Halsey, can you come to the lab at 5 p.m. today? Oh, no, I can't. Oh, that's fine. Can you come to the lab at 1 p.m. tomorrow? Just for 15 minutes. Okay, right, great. I'll see you at the lab. And when they come in, bop, boop, bam.
Stage it, right?
Yeah. But that wouldn't propel the story forward. And that wouldn't lead to, oh my gosh, Dr. Carl Hill getting his head chopped off with a shovel with very squishy noises that I know you adore. And the
sound in this is great.
And I also know that you like the tentacles as well. But I guess you just got to do it to propel. And it's also, people, I guess we're talking about what we should do in the real world, but I mean, movie logic is necessary in some sense. Like, when I watch a movie about filmmaking, the camera's never placed in the right spot, John. The shot that they are getting and the sound that they are getting is wildly horrible. But in movie logic, it works, so I just roll with it. So I guess you just gotta know that, like Last Action Hero, the chief is always yelling. In horror worlds, the characters always run, and they're like, "Hey, there's a giant turd that just came to life. It's in the kitchen making brownies." Like, what?
Exposure to the void or the other side or the influence. So this could, he has been exposed to something inconceivable by our understandings of the world. And so maybe this is, in fact, his panic attack, his mental breakdown, if you will.
No, that's
so
fair.
I guess I can rationalize. It's just that it didn't feel like that in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the kinds of things that, if I'm playing armchair, which I suppose we're doing whenever we get in front of our microphones here, like, yeah, this could be that madness kicking in, or even just the human panic response. But either way, these scenes, though, these exposition scenes, you're not just waiting for them to end.
Yeah.
And when you're watching a Friday the 13th sequel, I don't care if it's the most fun or the least fun Friday the 13th sequel for you. You are often waiting to get to the next fun scene, and then the fun scene happens, and then we're waiting to get to the next fun scene, and then that happens. Even Crispin Glover dancing crazily. That's really only entertaining when you know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, this is just a weird scene that, okay, like, is someone going to die here?
Corkscrew!
Right, you're just waiting for something to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that really happens in this movie.
No. It's because, I mean, it's just propelled so quickly. And the energy that they keep up in this movie. I mean, just Barbara Crampton's yelling in this movie. And just the way it's constantly moving, the energy. What's really interesting is, I know that Stuart was aided greatly by Mac, the DP. But Stuart Gordon, and obviously the screenplay, Dennis Paoli and William Norris, the producers were on set. They were experienced. He had good actors. But there's a propulsive energy in this movie that is quite hard to do in a first film. And you watch Stuart Gordon's other movies. We covered, King of the Ants on this, and it's very, very slow. Like, to call it a slow burn would be doing it a favor. It's very, I don't know. You miss that manic energy. He came out the gates with just
too intellectualized for its own good.
Well, King of the Ants?
Yeah. Is that what
I don't even want to talk about that movie anymore. No. But it's
fair.
It's yeah. I mean, just that manic energy, John. I don't think he just. I don't know. I don't think he said that he had a lot of problems on set. He didn't quite know what he was doing, which is fine, because how would he? But I think that's what a first director does. Let's do it. Let's make this. Let's do this energy. Let's make this decision. Because what horror movies can you think of that actually keep up a sort of manic? I'm not saying this movie's manic, but it has a very interesting vibe to it. And I mean, and just Herbert West is a very odd villain because he's not the stereotypical villain. Well, what other movies would you compare to this as far as keeping up energy? Like Evil Dead, does
Gosh.
Evil Dead keep up this energy? Does
See, the thing is, I want to say a movie like Slither, but when I really think hard, Slither does have clearly slower, even if well acted and charismatic, clearly slower exposition scenes. It falls a victim to being a movie that needs to create connective tissue between its main scenes. So it's like so even a movie I love as much as Slither, with as many charismatic actors that work as well on screen, which is so rare, as in this, all these actors work so well on screen together. Well, all 6 of them, I suppose.
Yeah.
5, arguably. But that's so, it's so odd. I agree, Mario. It's so hard to find things like that. I will, The Thing obviously has slower parts, but whenever The Thing has slower parts, I'm usually tense, or I'm getting to know what life is like in this compound. But again, that can feel slow to people. I don't even know.
You know what I've been thinking about lately, and that is the pacing. Okay, not the pacing.
How about the pacing of In the Mouth of Madness?
Like in Carpenter's movies. All right, I just want to bring up a few of them real quick. Where you have The Thing, you have In the Mouth of Madness, you have Prince of Darkness, and I know people hate, but Escape from L.A. and let's say Ghosts of Mars. I was watching Ghosts of Mars the other day, and I stabbed myself when I was trying to eat salmon. I had a jump scare so big. I had a piece of salmon coming towards my mouth. There was a weird Mars demon in the background behind Natasha Henstridge before she has she kicks him in the face. And I just stabbed myself right in the face with a fork, and my salmon went flying off of that. But there's something about the mood of a Carpenter. This is way off base, but there's something about the mood of a Carpenter film where we just spent a lot of time with it. But there's a very Carpenter mood. I don't know if Ghosts of Mars has a very unsettling, the score, the vibe. It feels, we're not going to figure it out here, but it's almost the opposite of what Stuart Gordon does here. And that's not saying one is right or wrong, but I don't know, the mood of Carpenter, I don't think Carpenter needs to propel himself forward. Escape from LA does that to a certain extent, but there's not a big In the Mouth of Madness sometimes takes its time, even though he's exploring. There's not a propulsive energy that there is in this movie.
In the Mouth of Madness, when I mentioned that though, because its slow parts are almost giving you time to think about and gel and appreciate what's going on.
Yeah.
The Thing, I could say that, but it has more and longer and slower parts. Not to a fault or anything, but just it's the way it's designed.
I mean, a paranoia film, you do need to sit in the... when you make a paranoid thriller like The Thing, it's also a monster movie, it's a creature feature, but paranoia needs to take place, so you can't be so propulsive. You need to sit in the paranoia.
Even the ping pong scene.
Yeah.
Before anyone was infected, though, even though there aren't a lot of scenes before anyone was infected, I really appreciate adult John appreciates seeing their way of life, what they're like, how they're interacting, their cabin fever that's setting in. 25-year-old John didn't get that. 18-year-old John definitely, he's just like, where's the monster?
Yeah.
And 12-year-old John was like, really, where's the monster? So, so it weren't a lot, but couple scenes, even when they're chatting during the autopsy scene. It's a very slow chat, and it's just a still frame.
Yeah.
On that creature. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Yeah, it's hard to find a movie like this. This is a very I don't know if the word is electric, but it keeps you tuned in. You don't relax. You're never waiting. The most boring part of this movie, no joke. The most boring part of this movie is when he's going in the basement to find out what's going on with the cat and he falls down the stairs. Him falling down the stairs. I'm not kidding. This is a weird thing to say. Him falling down the stairs stands out to me as the most boring part of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
That 4 seconds is the most boring part of the movie for me.
Oh, brother. Hey, so how about this? I love that scene because it's so bonkers. But hey, how about this? Let's take a quick break. Then when we come back, we will talk more Re-Animator. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And I was thinking about this, John. I'm like, should we do a Barbara Crampton draft? Should we do a Stuart Gordon? Should we do a Jeffrey Combs? But I was looking through 1985 horror, and I think we should do a real quick 1985 horror draft, and I will give you first pick.
I hate you.
This is like your year. There's a lot of ones you love in this.
I know. I got to think about. I'm very quickly pulling up my index.
Yeah, no, you can pull them all. You can go on IMDb. That's fine.
Which is like 10,000. Oh, Life Force.
Life Force. Got it.
We're just doing any horror movie, right?
Any horror movie.
Yeah, Life Force is a hands down for me. I love. One day we're going to talk about it.
That's fine. Life Force? I just watched it recently because of my vampire stuff.
We have discussed Life Force so much off mic that I often question if we've podcasted about it before.
Good old Toby Hooper. Oh, all right, here we go. Dude, that movie was made. That's crazy. It's worth talking about. All right, I'm going to take Fright Night. I know it's a ringer, but
I knew you were.
We've covered it on the pod, man. I think we've covered it on the pod a couple times, and we love that movie, so I'm taking that.
We did two back-to-back Fright Night pods. We did the original and the remake, and then the sequel and the remake of the sequel. Although the remake of the sequel wasn't a remake of the sequel at all. It was just a sequel of the remake. I'm going to do The Stuff.
Ooh.
A lot of social commentary going on in The Stuff.
See, I knew a 1985 draft would make you happy. All right. So, The Stuff. I know what you're going to take. Oh, you know what I'm going to take? Oh, that's big pressure on me here.
I think you know. I think I know.
All right, we'll say it.
Return of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good logical choice.
Said Mork. I love that movie.
I'm going to go... That's not really horror. I don't know if I should pick that. It's a Frankenstein movie, but it's not really horror. I'm gonna go off the cuff a bit. I'm gonna pick The Bride.
Hey.
That is, and for anyone listening and they're like, John, what the hell are you talking about? That is Sting, as in the music star, and Jennifer Beal, who is the star of Flashdance. And the first movie of, oh gosh, why can't I think? He played the Kurgan.
Oh gosh, Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown. And it is a Frankenstein, or it is more specifically a Bride of Frankenstein movie. But it is really a fantasy first, romance second, horror third. Distant third. But I'm picking that. That is a very interesting movie.
All right, I feel bad taking another one, so I'm going to jump on Silver Bullet because I loved that as a kid. I haven't watched it in many years, but I love me some Silver Bullet.
I got some flack when I shared my review on that because as an adult, that did not hold up well for me.
As a kid, though.
It's very obvious why that works so well as a kid. But as an adult, that one did not translate well to me at all. I get the nostalgia. I enjoy the nostalgia of it. But yeah, it's still a great nostalgia movie. I'm not going to question that at all.
And remember, Re-Animator's on the board, so you can take it.
Oh my God, I can
have it. It's your
blindness. Pick. I had. Why don't we just say no Re-Animator? Because now I'm going to pick it.
I mean, I think we should to promote it. I'm fine with it. I'm fine. You went with Life Force and stuff in The Bride, man. I picked Friday Night.
Realistically, I would have picked Re-Animator second and The Stuff third.
Okay, so you got Re-Animator.
Did you just think of it now? Would you have picked it earlier?
Yeah, I did. No.
You should have told me.
I would have taken Fright Night or Return of the Living Dead first.
You should have taken it for a steal.
I don't like stealing. I like playing to pick teams I love. All right. I'm gonna take. Hopefully you don't think this is too much of a ringer, but I do love me some Day of the Dead.
Oh, good.
I gotta take me some Day of the Dead.
And I want Demons.
1985
Demons.
Oh gosh, this is hard. I get the last pick. Halloween 2. There's a Friday the 13th movie. There's Cat's Eye. But I gotta go with Freddy's Revenge. Yeah.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. So that was tough for me not to pick that, but I still wanted my style pick of The Bride.
See, I knew you would like this year. This is like peak 80s for you here.
It's a good year. I've reviewed almost every single movie that we've discussed.
All right, so I'll take, and then you can go to Movies, Films, and Flicks the day after this episode is released, and you can vote on this poll. Doesn't matter who. I lose most of these. I lose a lot of polls, but I pick teams I love. I got smashed on a A24 horror poll earlier today, but I picked the movies I loved, so I'm happy. I'm going to
be honest. If you had announced at the beginning, if you had reminded at the very beginning, John, you have first pick, and you can pick Re-Animator, I would have picked still Life Force first.
Yeah, John, you've been talking about Life Force for your entire life.
That is a sci-fi epic. And like this movie, it pushes the envelope. There's so much nudity. There's so much big, huge set design. There's so much high concept. Like, there's so much Patrick Stewart.
If you know what's interesting, John? I'm looking at these movies right now, and Fright Night was wildly influential and still popular. But then you look at Freddy's Revenge, Return of the Living Dead, Re-Animator, Life Force. There were some funky horror movies released in '85. This wasn't just status quo horror cinema. I mean, Freddy's Revenge has built its own cult. Bub is still popular. The Return of the Living Dead. It's such an odd, bonkers movie with the punks and just the rain. And I mean, even the stuff, this is a funky year for horror, I would say. So it's kind of fun to cover.
I'm a huge fan of the stuff, too. Gosh, so big.
Would you say it's good stuff?
It's great stuff. It's addictive stuff.
But yeah, you know what's interesting? So when we were watching this movie, we've watched movies with Megan before, and she hasn't been that big of a fan, my wife Megan, but she really enjoyed this film. She had a great time with it because it's really sort of, we can't figure out words for this movie, John. It's very odd. And you look at the tomato, this movie has a 93% Rotten Tomato score. It has a 7.2 IMDb score. That's big.
For 80s horror, especially, yeah.
I look at a lot of IMDb and tomato meter scores, and this is a rare 97, like 90, plus 90s, plus 7s on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. So it seems like this movie is basically universally on board. And you know what I think it is, John? You were talking about this. As you watch The Thing, when you're young, you're like, where's the monster? Then when you get older, you're like, I love this. When you watch, this is a really random comparison, but when you watch Ferris Bueller, you watch it and it goes kind of bad because you're like, I love Ferris. And you get older and you're like, I hate this creep. And then you watch Starship Troopers when you're 12 and you just see all the action, blood and guts and Verhoeven-y. Then you get older and you
see all the commentary.
Yeah, you get the commentary and the fascism and the commercials and just the and then you know, oh, this is also Verhoeven, but he blended in these different quadrants. Re-Animator, when you watch it, I didn't get to watch this as a child, but if I watched it as a kid, I would have loved it because of just the cheeky gags and like Barbara Crampton and just all the blood and the guts and the explosions. And then you watch it at 18 and you're like, this is still great. And then you watch it at 25 and you go, hey, this is still really fun. And then you get to 39, my age, and you watch it and you're like, this is under 90 minutes. And this is like pretty fun and good filmmaking. Like this is a very exuberant movie. It doesn't.
Dr. Hill has some great lines.
Exactly, but it doesn't. I wouldn't say it evolves with time. But I've only watched it once, so I can't give that perspective. You can, but I do think that it's like an all ages type film, like that remains fun throughout. You talked about Silver Bullet, John. I watched that as a kid, and you got the kid, and you got Gary Busey, and when you have kids movies with kids in horror movies, this is great. But then you get a little older, and you're like, This one, I think, it just stays a nice, solid, constant, bonkers little movie. It's like Evil Dead for me. But even Evil Dead has evolved. When I was a child, when I was like 12 when I first watched it, I kind of thought, oh man, this is crazy. This is bonkers. Like, who is this guy? This dude's awesome. Like, groovy. I'm like, whoa. Army of Darkness, primitive screwheads. Who is this boss? And then you get older and you're like, man, this guy's a loser, but I love him. Does this movie have that evolution for you, or is it always just fun?
That's tough to say. It's always fun. I think it's tough for us, I think, to relate to most random horror movie viewers because there are so many movies that we have watched more than 5 times in our life that we're good at realizing the differences that we see in movies. Whereas I think a lot of people they don't notice it unless there's someone to talk to right after you saw it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not as skilled at picking out what was different for you. And then it won't linger in your head. So in many ways, my lab technician, Mike, in the entomology lab, he likes to joke to me. He says, John, you've ruined watching movies for me. You've ruined it, because whenever I watch, I think about this, or I think, oh, they did this because it was cheap, or, oh gosh, now I notice this lousy set design, or, oh gosh, now I notice like this, that, and the other. Like, he notices things that he never would have thought about because he's heard me ramble so many times, or he's listened to our podcast with me so many times. And at the same time, though, he's just joking. But now he's wearing the sunglasses and they live, though, now. Mm-hmm. He just got them. He now notices things that people don't ever think of, but once someone says it a couple times, you just say, aha. And I think that's tough for us to relate movies unless we're seeing a movie for the first time. And even then, we're used to reacting to certain things that I think are like the numbers in the Matrix that no one else sees.
Yeah.
Not no one else. There are a lot of movie, buffs out there. But I feel like there's this movie buff vision where, like Joe Pantaleone is saying, you see a bunch of numbers running down the screen. I see blonde, brunette, redhead, right?
Yeah.
I think that we see that all too often. And this is, such a weird meta conversation. But it makes it hard for me to relate to how other people would watch a movie over time compared to how I watch a movie over time.
Or what about you? How has this evolved for you over time?
So I think that for me, the big jump is that I hadn't seen it much. I probably went like 15 years without seeing it.
Oh, wow.
I probably saw it. I saw it once a year or two ago when I did a full Re-Animator franchise review. I saw it twice getting ready for this. So that's 3 times in the last couple of years. And I probably saw it 6, 7, 8 times from my teen years to my early 20s. But there's this big gap where I didn't see it for a very long time. And now when I watch it, I think it's my movie reviewer head, if you will. When I have that hat on when I watch, I notice things like how great all the characters are, whereas most people just experience it. You just like the movie more because Dr. Hill has great lines when he's peeling back that skin of that cadaver on the head, right? Mm-hmm. And he makes the comment about peeling an orange. You just like the character more. You don't know why. You don't even realize you like that character more. You just like the whole movie more. Whereas I hone in on it. I partition it, and I see all these little factors, the little things that make this movie better. Whereas when I used to watch it, I saw all the things that made the movie great, not the things that made the movie better. I saw Jeffrey Combs is great at being a dedicated, manic, focused, monomaniacal megalomaniac, right? I loved the effects and the wow moments and the nudity because I was young, right? And how grossly sinister Dr. Hill was. Whereas now I like why Dr. Hill is so grossly sinister. I how Jeffrey Combs is so effective at being monomaniacal. So it's the whys and the hows and not the whats that are in the forefront of the screen that I like now. And so, and watching those, I feel like I see a lot of those things for the first time in the last several years, mm-hmm. Even though I've seen the movie half a dozen times before. It never occurred to me how much I liked that morgue security guard.
Yeah.
And now, I love this guy. But the thing is that 25-year-old John probably did have his movie-going experience enhanced by morgue security guard. It's just that 25-year-old John, if you asked him his 100 favorite things about the movie, that wouldn't have even been thought about. Whereas now, it's very obvious. What a smart decision. People thought to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like when you comment on the number of candelabras on a set.
Yeah. Why? How are there that many?
Or run Ready or Not. You
yeah.
almost lost it talking about the candelabras. You're used to running around with them.
Oh man. Yeah. That kind of blew my mind.
But it's the little things.
Yeah.
As we get older, I think it's the little things. But it's not just that we're older. I think it's that we like a birder learning the birds' songs. We don't just recognize the birds when we see them. Now we know the birds for their songs.
And you know what? Oh, sorry, go for it. Sorry.
No, that's just it. It's like, so now we've learned to notice things that we didn't know how to notice before, and it's autopilot. And it gives us a different layer of appreciation of things. When you're 25, you love red wine because it got you drunk. When you're 35 or 40, like, oh no, but I really like this one more because it's a little more floral, and I don't like those big over the top Napa cabs with the big alcohol and fruit bombs. You know, like
the weather was better in the fall for this vintage.
Right. No, but right. It's just you appreciate things more thoughtfully.
And what's interesting too about this movie is it seems like a good hangout picture. So I love A Knight's Tale. I love Evolution. You know, you got like Super Troopers. You watch those movies, and since they're good hangout pictures, you never analyze them because you just put them on and you watch them. Re-Animator seems like that kind of movie because there's really no heaviness in it. Like when Megan Halsey finds out about her dad, she just kind of goes back. Like, she's pissed off justifiably at Dan Kane, but they get over that so quickly. This is a movie where, you know, you're expelled. Okay, well, we'll sneak into the morgue and do this. Like, it moves so quickly. There's no time for a reconciliation or any of that. So it propels itself. So it's a good hangout picture. So you just kind of let it. You tend
not to feel gravity.
Yeah, you just put it on and you just enjoy it. It's like a hangout picture. Knight's Tale. We covered that on the podcast and spent a really fun, popular episode. But after listening to all the commentaries and exploring the making of videos, now I see it completely different. But I've been watching it for years, just letting it wash over me. Like, I didn't even think about lighting or structure or any of that. Like, I never even, like, I was like, yeah, cool. It's like they're putting modern music in. It's fine. Like, I didn't even need to analyze that. Like, I get it. Like, he wants a vibe. And so I wonder if that too, like with Re-Animator, if you just, it just seems like a nice, really propelled, there's really not too much drama in it. I mean, he gets expelled from Germany. He immediately has a thing over there. Then he becomes a butt. Then they get a cat. And then they go rescue a bodybuilder. The dad dies. And then we learn that Dr. Carl Hill learns about it, gets the dad, lobotomizes him. And then they even cut out a subplot about hypnotizing. And then they all meet at the end inside of the morgue where they've all been in a big naked fight. So it's just such like a quick propulsion, like they propel it so quick. You know, I don't know. I just wish more horror movies would do that. I have no problem with what's up.
Every use of the reagent in the movie results in something bigger, bolder, messier, more chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every single individual use, it's a level up. The cat, Schwarzenegger's body double, Dean Halsey because of the stakes, Dr. Hill because of the way it happens and what develops from that, and then 89 naked bodies running around, right?
Yep.
Like it just keeps staking up. You know, it's fun. I said there were no stakes. I was wrong. There's one scene in this movie that has stakes. You know, the end of Critters, you see the critter eggs, and you're just like, wank, right? You see the movie Arachnophobia. At the end, a little spider crawls over something. Wink, like, maybe sequel or wink or something like that. In this movie, they do that, but it is maybe the moment with the most gravity of the whole film. And that is at the end of everything. Jeffrey Combs is literally being asphyxiated by reanimated intestines. All those naked zombies are going nuts. By now, no joke, morgue security guard is probably dead, right? I mean, and Dan, for everything that he's seen this. It never works out well. It always turns out horrible. Everyone comes back feral and manic and elements of pure chaos, like something from the goddamn Event Horizon. But because he loves Megan, he's going to inject her and just so insanely, blindly hope that somehow this is different. It's the most idiotic thing you could do, but I get it. And when he at the very end, and that's when they pull in the violins again with the music to roll you into the credits with that Re-Animator music. And like that scene, every time I see it now, the last few viewings, it's like, oh God. Like it's like someone squeezing my heart when he goes to do that.
Yeah, because
It's a great ending.
She hasn't been dead long, so that could maybe be good. But Halsey wasn't dead long.
But Dean Halsey, they got right away.
Yeah.
Dr. Hill, they got right away.
Yeah.
So presumably Dr. Hans Gruber, we don't know the situation there. Hans Gruber. So yeah, like
this is Bowie's favorite movie, or was one of his favorite movies.
Good.
He walked up to the DP Mac and said, "It's one of my favorite movies." Because you know why I thought that? Because I have a Bowie coaster that I'm using that you sent me.
Coaster, yeah.
That's some levels right there, John. No, but you're right. I mean, listen, the end has that. What's interesting too is, obviously the short story came before Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary was 1983. The book came out. This came out in 1985. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a tragic ending. But for some reason, John, for me, I don't know why, but based on everything from this movie, everything always going wrong for these people, I just think, it'll be fine. It's really odd, John. There's no weight for me, this ending. Like, I think it's heavy, and yes, it does have weight. It does have stakes. I mean, it has massive stakes for these people. But for some reason, I'm like, it'll be all right. I don't know why. It's the honest vibe that I get from this movie. It doesn't weigh on me, but it is heavy. But I still think, it'll be cool. Barbara's fine. No, Megan's fine. I don't know. It's a weird thing, man. I don't know if you get that vibe or if you've even thought about it, but yeah, you're right. There's stakes there, but it's at the very end. But it doesn't weigh on you, though. Does it weigh on you? I mean, we admit there's stakes. It's not that it weighs
on me. It's just that it's the only part of the movie that has any gravity for me, really. Yeah. That's the scene where I have a moment where I worry for a character, or the two of them, although she's dead at the moment. And that actually springboards the theme of the second movie. And of course, in this one, he even says, "I gave him life," referring to Hans Gruber. I
haven't seen the
kill
sequel.
him. No, but I mean, in this one with the Hans Gruber scene, he says, "I didn't kill him. I gave him life." They're having a very Frankenstein moment there. And then so the second movie goes very Bride of Frankenstein, with Dan's desire to get his love back.
Oh, really? Get Megan back?
It's not Barbara Crampton, but it's just. But it springboards off of it in a way that I find acceptable. I don't know why they didn't get Barbara Crampton. I guess. She did From Beyond just like a year or two after this as well. Another Stuart Gordon or Brian Usna film.
She works though. So I mean, maybe she was on some other picture.
But yeah. So the next one goes very Bride of Frankenstein. The next one is way more, believe it or not, Mark, way more over the top.
Oh, okay. Which I don't want to. I don't. It's almost like I don't want to watch it because
they even pull a fast one because you know how Dean Halsey crushes Dr. Hill's head.
Yeah.
We see it. It gets squished. It is treated like that didn't happen, and Carl Hill returns as a villain.
Oh, man. I just don't like it when a movie is successful and then they try to recreate the tone but turn it up to 11. I'm just speculating here, and I probably will watch it eventually. But I don't know, when a movie tries to recreate the tone, do they try to recreate this? Because I don't feel like that ever works.
So, not in a forced way. They're just going through the same motions because it's another Re-Animator movie, not because they're trying to recreate the blood test scene in the Thing prequel. It's not like that.
Oh man, what is it? Contacts? What is it?
Where you go? No, it was fillings.
Oh yeah,
checking for fillings in your teeth.
Are we ever talking about the Thing prequel?
What's that?
Are we ever going to talk about the Thing prequel?
Well, I'm down. It's a very fun movie. It's a very fun movie. I enjoy watching it. I just get annoyed by what it does, but I still really enjoy that. Well,
yeah.
It's but no. You know what else is neat about this movie is I kind of realized this when I was just writing reviews for movies. I usually write like, oh well, if you like this, you should try these other movies, right? Mm-hmm. And I started relating to a lot of movies as I'm reviewing these other movies. And I came across what I consider to be the four zombie forefathers. Now, I did not do any analysis. This is just based on stuff that I reviewed. 84, Night of the Comet. 85, Return of the Living Dead, Re-Animator. 86, Night of the Creeps. Can you think of any other and or older zombie-ish movies?
Man, I'm just happy you brought up Night of the Comet because I adore that movie.
Because I can't. And I have thought about it a little bit. Not hard. I wasn't searching online, but these strike me as the zombie forefathers.
Well, that makes sense.
84 to 86. Night of the Comet, Return of the Living Dead, Re-Animator, Night of the Creeps.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, Night of the Living Dead was 60.
And it's a reach for the Night of the Creeps, right? It's a reach for Night of the Creeps. I'm reaching on the zombie, right? But
well, I mean, were those zombies in Evil Dead, or were they ghouls coming back to life?
They were so different, though.
Yeah.
They were not zombie-like to me at all.
No, I think that's it. Yeah.
So I'm not saying horror comedy, right? So, but yeah, it just struck me that there seemed to be this little trend going on, or there was a time when this was happening. It's not like in 1978 there was this one movie, and then in 81 there was this other movie, and then in 85 there was this other movie, right? Because that's how I look at slasher evolution.
Because I know what slashers, right? I mean, let's say there was Psycho, there was Peeping Tom, there was Black Christmas, but then it was Halloween,
right? And then the Town That Dreaded Sundown,
and then
Halloween,
Halloween kicked it into like. There were slasher movies before Halloween, but Halloween
But look at those time gaps. We're talking like 1960 and 1968, right? For Peeping Tom and Psycho, and then Black Christmas and The Town That Dreaded Sundown, 1974. And then there might be some copycats, but nothing that got any real acclaim. And then 1978, Halloween. So these were big jumps. Whereas these are very consolidated. They're very crunched.
Mm-hmm. I love all of them.
They were almost all. I don't know the facts of Night of the Creeps. Almost all of them were made kind of in a rush. So that means they probably carried a lot of influence of what happened immediately in the year or 6 months before.
This was shot in 20 days, John. 20 days. And all the special effects.
I don't know about Night of the Creeps. That's the one I'm not sure about for timetables.
All the special effects to shoot for a first-time director in 20 days for Re-Animator. Because, in the 80s, you watch these I watch a lot of documentaries about special effects and head smushes and scalping of heads. That takes a lot of time. And to reset some of these, woof. So, I mean, when you get they used 24 gallons of blood on this movie, and the guys before this had only used 2. So, I mean, talk about resetting on film sets. I mean, how much time it takes. So, yeah, I mean, with all these gags, I mean, some shots are quite flat, but you also have to sacrifice some cinematography, some shots for the special effects. And I don't think any shot suffers too much. But, yeah, I think they deal with the budget well, and I dig it, John. So I'm glad you recommended this movie.
Yeah, this is a favorite brought to me by my long departed Uncle Rick, who got me pretty hard into horror pretty young.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, Rick. I think you've told me about some of the movies you used to watch with him.
That's well, the listeners won't know, but that's my cousin and Mark's friend Ryan's father.
Oh, got it. Oh. I used to go watch movies with Ryan, and then we worked at AMC theaters briefly. A lot of movies.
And we all went to tennis camp together.
Yeah, we did. All right, well, thank you for joining me, man. This was a fun way to kick off our series.
All right, man.
All right, so for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for John Snap Levengood, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.